All right, let's talk about something that's become absolutely critical for any major project today: Indigenous consultation. We're going to explore how to see this not just as a legal hurdle you have to clear, but as a really powerful strategic opportunity.
So let me ask you a question that gets right to the heart of this. When you think about consultation, do you see it as just another box-ticking exercise on a massive checklist? A hurdle you just have to get over. Or could it be something much more? A genuine opportunity to build something better?
Because that's really the core idea here, isn't it? It's all about moving away from that transactional, checklist mindset and toward building real, lasting partnerships that are actually founded on mutual respect.
Okay, so to really get into this, we have to start with the basics. You got to know the rules of the road before you can find a better route, right? And that starting point is the legal foundation that governs how industry and projects work in Canada. This brings us to a huge concept: the duty to consult. And look, this isn't just some company policy or a nice-to-have best practice. This is a fundamental obligation that is literally baked into the Canadian Constitution.
So what is it exactly? Well, the duty to consult is the legal requirement for the Crown, and that includes companies or projects acting with the Crown's approval to consult with Indigenous peoples. And this duty gets triggered anytime an action might negatively impact their rights. Think of it as the legal floor, the absolute minimum requirement.
And this right here is such a crucial point. Meeting that legal duty to consult is, of course, absolutely necessary, but it's just the starting point. It is not the finish line. A higher, more collaborative standard is taking shape not just here, but really as a global benchmark for how to do things right.
Now, this slide does a great job of laying out the two big frameworks side by side. On the one hand, you've got the duty to consult. It comes from Canadian law, it's driven by the government's obligation, and its main goal is to mitigate or lessen any negative impacts. But then, look at the other side. You have FPIC. Its roots are in international human rights. It's driven by the rights of Indigenous peoples themselves, and its goal, it's way higher: achieving genuine consent. That's a whole different ballgame.
So let's zoom in a little bit on FPIC. It stands for Free, Prior, and Informed Consent. And this is what's more and more being seen as the global gold standard for doing engagement with Indigenous communities in a way that's meaningful and ethical.
FPIC is really built on 4 essential pillars, and you need all of them. It has to be free, which means there's no pressure, no intimidation, no manipulation. It has to be prior, which means you have these conversations early on, way before the major decisions are locked in. It must be informed. That means sharing all the important information in a way that's clear and easy to understand. And finally, consent. This recognizes the fundamental right for communities to say yes or no to projects that are going to affect their lives and lands.
So, this brings up a really practical question, right? You might be thinking, okay, if the law only requires me to consult, why on earth would my business adopt a higher standard like FPIC? What's in it for me?
Well, the answer is that an approach based on consent isn't just about being ethical. It's about being smart. It's about sustainable business. It fundamentally lifts up how you operate and can give you a massive strategic advantage.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The old way, the compliance-only approach, too often leads to conflict, to court battles, to uncertainty and delays that can stop a project dead in its tracks. The new way, the partnership approach, actually builds the trust you need to de-risk projects for everybody involved.
And let's just run through those benefits because they're huge. When you build on a foundation of consent, you get way more certainty for your project. Your ESG scores go up, which investors absolutely love. You build stronger, more resilient relationships in the community. You open up all these new doors for creating shared value and economic reconciliation. And you earn something that is priceless: a powerful social license to operate.
So, at the end of the day, what this is really about is moving beyond just legal standards and creating new relationship standards. It's a commitment to working in a way that's built on real communication, on transparency, and a genuine desire to find those win-win outcomes. So, as we start to wrap this up, what's the one big idea you should walk away with? It all comes down to a fundamental shift in how we think about this. Here it is, the core takeaway. We have to shift from seeing consultation as a transactional process, just another item on a to-do list, and start embracing it as a relational partnership. That, right there, is the journey from obligation to opportunity.
And I'll leave you with this final thought. Just for a second, forget about the old way of doing things, and instead ask yourself, what kind of future, what incredible projects,
What resilient communities could you help build on a foundation of true consent?